Okay, Frank, you're ready to go.
Okay, good evening.
Hi.
Welcome to Scituate Conservation Commission. Just have a couple of quick things to read. This meeting is being held remotely as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with the open meeting law. And then number two, the town of Scituate, Massachusetts commitment to diversity, equality, and inclusion. The Scituate Conservation Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during our meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's a disagreement. We value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. And we ask our committee members and all who participate to commit to these standards and support and respect our community. Thank you. So do we have any additions or amendments to the agenda?
No, I don't think we do tonight.
Good. Okay. Can we just start right out with 22 Oceanside?
Except they want to continue.
Did we accept the agenda?
Oh, yeah. So I'll take a motion to accept the agenda
I make a motion, we accept the agenda as written.
in a second.
I'll second that.
Brendan, all in
Brendan.
favor, Richard?
Yes.
And we said Doug's not on, right?
Yeah,
Doug,
I'm on.
Doug,
yes,
Penny,
Yes,
Jen?
Yep.
Andy?
Yes,
Great, thank you. Okay, so. Am I right?
has this been open, 22 Oceanside?
There's a request to continue 22 Oceanside.
I know, I'll do that. Oh, okay. I make a motion to continue 22 Oceanside, 151 Turner Road to October 17th.
I'll second it.
Motion by Penny, second by Richard, all in favor, Doug,
yes,
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
yes.
Brendan,
Yes,
and Frank, yes. Where do they stand with that, Amy? Do you know?
Yeah, so it was actually pulled for ENF or, a MIPA filing, so it's in that undergoing that
Okay.
system before they come back.
Okay, great, thank you. 327 Central Ave. This is continued.
Yeah, so 327 Central, I'm gonna put on Josh Green. Since the last hearing, we did actually receive a stormwater application. So I think he's gonna talk about what he's changed and added. And we are in the process of putting this out for peer review. So I'll just turn it over to Meryl.
Okay. Josh?
Good evening. Josh Green from Merrill Engineers. So as Amy mentioned, since last time we were in front of you, we had submitted a stormwater application that basically involved 3 changes to the site plan. We had to slightly alter the location of the septic, which would be just to kind of the northeast, kind of moving it to the right on the plan. It includes a subsurface infiltration system to handle some of the roof, and that's located on the front yard. I believe, Amy, this is the old plan, but the subsurface infiltration is located near the proposed stockpile area on this plan. And then a rain garden in the back of the house to the left of the deck. Those 2 systems basically are trying to meet the standards to the extent practicable. The rain garden handling the increase in pavement to provide water quality volume, and the subsurface infiltration system to capture as much of the roof runoff as possible, staying outside the 50-foot buffer, and providing the infiltration volume. So those were the three major changes to basically address the standards and the stormwater requirements to the extent practical as it is redevelopment. So with that, I'll just turn it over to questions. Amy, if I can share my screen, I can bring up the new plan if you want me to.
Sorry, Josh, we don't do that. But we can just talk about it. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, Amy, do you want to start on this one?
No, not really. I think that, it's gonna undergo a peer review for the stormwater. I mean, it went over the threshold for applicability, so, it was pretty close to begin with, but, when they took another look at it, we've made that adjustment and we're gonna go through that, so that's about all I
Okay.
have to say right now.
So this, do we have, you have somebody you're gonna give that to, or?
No, we just received it late last week, so I put it out today for an estimate and I waiting for a proposal, but it's in process. Things take a little bit, but
Okay, was there anything else we needed on that one? Did we have, was that the only piece that was added to that?
there were a few other adjustments that we had actually received too, like notice of intent form and a few other plan changes that were requested by Bob Gray, but we were definitely fine tuning the plan as far as that goes. So I think now that we've got a revised plan, we'll take a look at the stormwater and see, how we can meet those requirements, and then also put it back to the wetland scientists if it changes any of the components of that. So we'll need to involve Bob again on the final plan, just to make sure, but
All right, just whatever else they need to get in, I don't want to have it go to find out where things hanging out there. So whatever else they're missing. Okay. Any idea how much time we need to continue this to?
I would say continuing it to the first September meeting should be good.
Okay,
I mean,
So
I guess it all depends on
September
the
12th,
comment that
when is it?
7th, I
Um,
think. Isn't it Wednesday the
7th?
7th?
believe. Wednesday, September 7th.
Okay,
so start there and see if we can meet that. Okay. All right, so I'll take a motion to continue this.
yeah, I make a motion to continue 327 Central Ave to September 7th.
The second,
A
Second.
second that.
okay. So all in favor, that was Brendan, right? So all in favor, Richard
Yes.
and Doug,
Yes.
Jen?
Yep.
Andy?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Then let's see, we're on to 19 Wood Island.
Bill,
Well, I think I gotta open that one.
you do.
Oh, I guess we opened it.
Yeah, we opened it. It was immediately continued. So I'm gonna put on the stormwater engineer, which is Caroline Reese from Cavanero Consulting.
Okay,
Oh,
Hi there, can you hear me okay?
got you.
Thank you. My name's Caroline Reese from Cavanero Consulting, now a division of Merrill Corp. I am representing the applicant, Ted Goff, owner of the property at 19 Wood Island Road, who is proposing some residential improvements to his developed home and lot. Can we look at the site plan? Would that be possible?
I think we've got it up on the screen.
Oh, I'm not seeing it.
Really?
Goodness. where am I? Let me check my settings. I didn't even notice. I must be, there it is. Sorry. I didn't realize my settings were up. Okay, as you can see, just a description of the lot. It is bound by Wood Island Road to the southeast, and on the remaining sides, it is surrounded by salt marsh. And the lot is just over an acre, about 48,000 square feet. As I said, it's a developed lot with a single family home. And the homeowners are proposing some changes, and given the resource areas, about 75% of the lot is located within the 50-foot buffer. And that is this thick line, just to make sure everyone can see it, kind of surrounding the way the dwelling's laid out. And virtually 100% of the lot, besides this tiny triangle, is within the 100-foot buffer. So it is maybe, I don't know, for lack of a better word, a sensitive site for conservation. And given that the homeowner, I'm not sure if Ted's on the phone. I think Sean Papich is on the call, and maybe Heidi. I saw Sean at least, but for now, I think the homeowner worked with the team to try to very carefully achieve some of the improvements he wanted, and limiting impact to the wetland area in the buffer zone. And I'll go through them quickly. The dwelling is here, the existing dwelling. What we propose to do is remove this existing garage here, which is kind of, it's hard to reach, it's off center, it's a little undersized for cars, and replace it with the larger garage here. They're both located in the 50. The new garage adds an additional 10 square feet within the 50, but overall we're reducing impervious area within the 50. I'll get to that. They're proposing to reconfigure the driveway, the existing gravel driveway. This auto cart will be paved, and the entrance will be narrower, and that will be gravel proposed. To gain more additional living space, they propose to connect the existing dwelling with an addition here. This is solely a second-story addition, so there's be no first floor walls. And it's outside the 50, but it lies over an existing roof porch and bluestone patio. They propose to add a spa, and that was sized to remain outside the 50-foot buffer as best they can. They also propose a patio, which does extend out of the 50. It's primarily over ledge, except 17 square feet of it. And there are some other hardscape improvements. They want to add these stepping stones over lawn. That's basically a path that's walked. I feel like that may be an improvement, and some other hardscape features, some entrance walls to improve the property. There are stepping stones here. They're just shifting them slightly. They're gonna reconfigure the existing stepping stones, and there's a landing here that they're just reconfiguring. Overall, these changes result in a decrease in impervious area within the 100, which is for the whole property, by about 330 square feet. And they slightly decrease the impervious area within the 50 by 5 square feet. And they also, to account for these changes, propose some about 740 square feet of mitigation plantings along this west side, chosen here because there's a lot of ledge on this lot. And that is an area where I think Sean could probably speak to it if you have more questions, but would be a successful place for plants to grow. Also, to try to achieve this patio, another 100 square feet or plus mitigation plantings are proposed. That was based on recommendation from a peer reviewer. I should say we submitted this in June. It was continued to have a peer review, which was completed July 18th. There were some questions on the wetland flagging, which John Zimmer is scheduled to get out, but he was on vacation from the 18th, which was, they haven't been completed. But we're hoping to at least talk about what's proposed there and get some input. And that's I think the gist of it. Leave it for questions or open it to questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Amy, do you want to comment, or who did the review on this?
I have the name if you'd like.
It was Art Allen. Sorry, I was looking for my mute button. Yeah, hi,
Oh,
Frank.
you can-
So Art Allen, is he on the call? I don't think he is, actually. Yeah, no, so Art did the, I walked the site with Art, a few weeks ago. And there were a couple of areas where we had, or where he had pointed out that flag adjustments should be made. But generally, there's a consensus with, where the limit of salt marsh is, just two, couple of areas. And I mean, the site was built in 2014, so it's not really that old of a house. There were orders back in 2013 for new construction. So, and some of you may remember this because I was just looking at the orders. It looks like Rich and Frank were on the commission.
Yep.
Okay.
Any,
Yeah, I was there too.
For some reason, though, you didn't sign this one, but yeah, you must have been on too, Ken. And he was, yeah, so the findings from Art, which we did send out, he just had few comments. I mean, the flag adjustments was one of the comments, and two of the locations for the salt marsh. And then as far as like they're proposing mitigation for compensation of going into the buffers, garage, feeling like the garage is appropriate, but the proposed patio looks a little excessive with no apparent mitigation provided. And then adjusting the limit of work to conform to the existing limits of the disturbance where possible. And then also discussion of land subject to coastal storm flowage performance standards. The state has none, the town would at least like those to be discussed. So those are my comments.
And I tried to address what I could in a memo. I hope you got that. At least the flags have not been done, but we did add those plantings around the proposed patio. Sean thinks we can do it. We were a little wary because there's ledge here and this whole area. Actually, this section that projects into lawn, we're pretty sure there's ledge just a couple inches down. It's a tough, it's 17 square feet. But I think Sean's going to try to get some plantings in here in response to the peer review. I did pull in the silt sock a little more. We were trying to kind of follow the grade, but agree it could have been tightened. And I did try to address the town standards on land subject to coastal storm flowage in a write-up. But basically, we're not really changing much grading. There's a tiny bit here. This area is relatively flat, they're relocating the garage. It's slightly farther away from the 50, he didn't ask that, but basically as far as flowage, and the new garage, I should say, will be flood compliant with 4 smart fans, so the existing garage is not. So we're hoping those items help meet the land subject to coastal storm flowage issues. But
Okay. Do you want to add anything else, Amy?
No, I mean, I don't think you can close tonight, but
Well, I want to get some.
you can
input.
make some progress as far as getting comments about, I mean, clearly it's an environmentally sensitive area. It's surrounded on, all 3 sides by salt marsh on the other side of Wood Island. I mean, if you're not familiar with the property, it might be a good one to definitely go take a look at it if you want to do a site walk. I at first, actually, I thought they were tearing the house down, so I was happy to see that they're not actually taking the entire house down, so that's good. It's just improvements for the garage and then hardscaping out on the northwest side.
yeah, I'm sorry, I should add, there's a second bump out over here that they're adding.
When you
to the
say, when you
ex-
say over here, we can't see your,
Oh, you can't see
cursor.
my cursor. I'm so sorry. That's right. I'm not sharing the screen. On the west side, there's about, what is it, a 4-foot second story addition? That'll be on 3 10 by 10 foot posts. So the
It's
two
there.
additions on that west side are only second story,
It's there.
and connecting to the proposed garage.
so the thing that's labeled porch, is that an addition as well?
No, there's an existing porch that's existing. Above it, that rectangular is the proposed second story addition. So
Mhm.
the porch will be, there's roof there and there, but not living space. There's a first story porch, which will come down. It'll be a second story, like kind of cantilevered addition.
Okay.
But that's all impervious now because there's bluestone and porch below.
Okay.
Caroline, now, so did you take a look for stormwater applicability on this site for?
I did. We're not really increasing, well, we're decreasing impervious area. And I did check the standards. I believe we did not meet them. I'm sorry, I don't have those numbers in front of me. But the additions, we're really reconfiguring the driveway and there's a lot of overlap. I don't think we meet any of the thresholds.
And
sorry, I
you
don't
think
have
you're
the detail.
decreasing the amount of impervious?
We are decreasing in both the 50 and 100. In the 50, only 5 square feet, but we are decreasing impervious area. They've reduced the area of the driveway right now. It's a larger swinging driveway and, they've tightened that up to compensate. And most of the work is over ledge or existing impervious, like that addition that attaches to the garage. I believe the client really tried to work with us to try to get some more living space for him and a more usable parking area, and trying to minimize the impact, try to keep things as tight as possible while trying to achieve his, desires.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough site as far as ledge goes.
Mhm,
There's
Mhm.
definitely ledge all over.
mhm. I should mention the proposed patio on the north side, that's cited at elevation 20 plus 20.3. The ledge goes up to about 19 there. The idea is to try to build over that ledge and not disturb that ledge as much as possible. This one maybe, but yeah, we're trying to balance a lot here.
Okay. Well, let's start down some members and see what their questions are. Richard?
Yeah, actually, I only have 2, I think. I'd love, if there's going to be some new plantings, and I'm glad there are, at least intended, I'd love to know the planting plan. And second of all, the only place that really bothers me at all is that proposed patio. And I mean, that's the most invasive part or into the 50, I think. I'd love to see that cut back a little bit if it could be. Now, maybe it can. And I understand you're going over ledge. I do remember when we did this back in 2014. And I love the area and I'm glad they've done what they've done. But that to me is that's the one I would question the most. The rest of it, I think it's a nice tight job for the most part, from my perspective.
Thank you.
That's it, Frank.
Okay.
May I respond? I believe Jen may have the landscape plan from Sean Papich. We talked about it, which does provide a detailed planting plan.
Oh, that's great. Yep, we would need
Yeah,
that.
that's been submitted.
Okay, good. I
There it
appreciate
is.
that. Thank you.
Thank you. The red is the existing driveway. It
Yep.
appears red here. So the plantings are in the upper right corner, I believe, in detail.
I can't see that right now, but
Yeah,
but I certainly believe you. And there we go.
there we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. And we'd
Okay.
have to condition that lasts a couple of planting years and all that, but that's good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Doug?
So a lot of my questions I was forming in my head have been answered. So there's a lot going on, obviously.
Hmm.
So Caroline, then you're not anticipating any blasting as far as the ledge goes then, if you're gonna try to, I'm wondering about that garage. It doesn't show ledge on the plan, but
Correct. It appears to be a grassy area and, you know, we don't know what's too far down the existing garage. I don't
It's-
think hit
it's
too
gonna be a
much, but
slab on grade.
slab on grade. So we don't anticipate blasting there, you know.
So it's not
slab on
showing,
grade.
let's see, I mean, the landscape plan is kind of, that's helpful. It's not showing any grading around the backside of the garage. It just goes right into planting. So is that just gonna be exposed, you know, frost wall or whatever happens to be up there? Is there,
Correct. And with plantings around it and, you know, the south side may be slightly exposed, but I
Okay.
submitted an architectural foundation plan as well, but you know, that south area isn't too visible, and then with the plantings right up to the garage as well as possible, I think that's there.
and so,
Plan.
and so that, and then the patio on the north spot that Rich was talking about,
Correct,
that
yeah.
is being built mostly in the 50. Of course, you know, we try not to do that, but that's, so you're gonna like put some fill there and just put a patio. Is it solid concrete, or is it gonna be like a pervious paver kind of thing, or?
That's an excellent question. I don't know if Sean's on the phone. It's called I should check that with the seat wall. I think it looks like it's bluestone by his symbols. And I think they're gonna try to build it above. Is Sean here?
I just put Sean on, yeah.
Sean?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, this
Thank
is
you.
Sean Papich Landscape Architecture, and that's at 222 North Street in Hingham. So, yeah, the rear terrace would be a dry set rear terrace with crushed stone underneath it. Now, there's a lot of ledge there too. So it's a substantial amount of ledge that really is what that terrace is sitting on, which is one of the reasons why we placed it there. We proposed to place it there, given that it's fairly restricted in that area. And so we thought that putting it on what's already an existing impervious surface, we would still provide some drainage in it, but but we're still going to be in a situation where just underneath the surface, it'll be the ledge.
Okay, but
Is that
there'll be,
helpful?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, so like there's kind of a wall
Correct, a
around
low
it.
seat wall. Yeah, essentially a low seat wall, about a 21-inch height, low seat wall around it. Essentially what you have is drainage through the wall. Weed
Right.
poles going through the wall, but very little, of course, because essentially we'll have a dry joint with a pervious joint. It's everything we do is on crushed stone and with 1/4-inch chip stone. The whole kind of construction technique is different than doing compacted crusher run and compacted stone dust. So it's a different treatment altogether. So water will pass through the terrace.
Okay, and now out some weep holes
That's
in
correct.
the wall. Okay,
That's correct. Yes.
all right. And then this landscape plan shows a lot of plantings up and down the driveway. They appear from that plan that those are all new as well?
Those would be new plants that we are going to ultimately have on the driveway, but most of what we show there is primarily on the plan that you're looking at is still plantings right around the proposed patio and behind the garage. There will be some new plantings along the driveway, yes. We didn't identify those as mitigation plants at this point because
Correct,
we were
yeah.
typically hold on exactly what we're calling those plants out as.
Right,
But essentially,
Okay.
anything we do in that area is typically a mitigation plan in itself, really anyway. So it'll be more of plant material like inkberry, Virginia rose, any of our native woody plants, as well as some sedge, which would be a perennial, native perennial in grass and ground cover.
okay. All right, thanks. Yeah, because I mean, everything's inside the 100 at least, and a lot of
is.
even those along the driveway are in the
Yeah.
50. So I
Absolutely.
think considering the mitigation is.
They really are. Yeah, they really are at that point. Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Penny,
No, I think all my questions, were on that patio in the back. Other than that, I think it looks pretty good. Thank you.
okay, Jen,
Yeah, I've got a couple. One, just a little clarification on the auto court. I felt like I heard you say asphalt, but it says gravel. So I just want to understand what is what.
Doug could maybe speak to that too. I think he's got multiple meetings, but you know what, the gravel drive is the existing, is the bottom line, that wording. It looks,
Mhm.
I didn't notice how confusing that looks, but there
Okay.
is, if you see a little leader to that area, just that parking area would be asphalt.
Yep.
The driveway that you
Yep.
enter on is gravel.
Correct. That's correct.
So like that square rectangle with like the little jutty things would all be
Correct.
asphalt.
Correct.
Mhm.
Those are asphalt, and those are granite accents that are at the edges of the asphalt. It'd be a crushed stone driveway going to it, access drive coming from the road.
Okay. Yeah, I don't love that. But I can understand why somebody would like an asphalt driveway. So that would be potentially an opportunity for improvement there.
Recreation is an opportunity, is one of the things we think about there for something solid for kids to play on. And in this case, because there's a reduction of overall impervious in the surface, and the impervious surfaces in the whole property and then the project, we feel like that was a compromise that we made also, even from an aesthetic standpoint, but we still want it for the function.
I understand. Maybe it
Okay.
can be smaller or something. I totally get wanting a place for kids to play. We're thinking about that ourselves as a family. So I'm
Okay.
with you on that. Just maybe
Okay.
smaller. The other thing was, Caroline, I think you mentioned like some gates, or are there any retaining walls happening anywhere, or what? There's so many wonderful lines here that I'm trying to follow them.
I know, I'm sorry about that.
Don't be
So
sorry.
no
You did your
retaining
job.
walls. These are,
Okay.
and Sean may be able to speak to it. He did a lovely job. These are entrance walls just above ground, I think setting walls. These are wheel wells for a boat, but that's mostly over the existing
Where
driveway.
are you pointing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I keep forgetting. I don't have the cursor.
No worries.
On either side of the asphalt driveway
Okay.
where those bluestone juttings are, those are
Yep.
just entry walls. I think they're 3 feet high.
Got it.
Standing walls. And then on the rear side of the garage, there are 2 wheel well tracks,
Okay.
I assume for a boat, but no retaining walls.
Okay. And the material for the wheel well stuff, it looks like
Yeah,
asphalt
it'll be
or no?
impervious, probably asphalt or maybe even concrete. Sean, are you still here? You could maybe speak
It does.
to
I don't
that.
think it says. It just says 100
Yeah,
square
I
feet
know,
wheel
that came
runs.
from him. I could get that. Oh, no, I'm sorry. He says wheel run auxiliary parking. I'm sorry, it's crushed stone.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
You're apologizing for things that you shouldn't, so don't worry.
Well, I think I counted that in the impervious, so we may have
Yeah.
a little less.
And I guess like just to echo Rich and anybody else who kind of called it out, the patio that's very much into the buffer would be the other thing. So the driveway and that patio, I'd love to see different. And that's it.
What happened?
I don't know.
Andy? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, maybe I'm just completely missing this, but so I see the larger garage and the conversion of the driveway from gravel to asphalt. What impervious surface is coming out that's leading to the overall reduction? Am I totally missing this?
The existing driveway for one, and the existing garage. And that's primarily it. Some of those stepping stones and a little Bluetooth, but that's primarily it. The existing driveway extends.
The existing driveway is gravel, correct?
Correct, but Scituate considers that an impervious surface
Gravel is, yes.
It's
in the bylaw.
impervious.
Impervious, yes. So
Wait.
a question.
It's pervious. Gravel is
Correct.
pervious, correct?
No, it's impervious.
Impervious. So I'm missing that. So gravel is impervious.
Hmm.
Okay. Is that right?
Since when?
And the approach to the driveway will remain gravel. And I believe Sean did design that auto court to stay outside of the 50, but we can look at that. Trying to get the car to, well, 2 cars to turn into the proposed driveway, needed some space, but perhaps we could tighten that, but we did keep that out of the 50, the asphalt portion.
Okay. So it's, well, maybe I've been wrong in this
Yeah,
whole time.
Well, I'm
I'm
actually
confused as
wondering if
well.
Amy can clarify this, because we're always talking about pervious and impervious. And everyone's throwing out gravel on projects all the time to make it impervious. I mean, pervious.
Impervious.
So they're going the other way. They're taking asphalt and turning it into gravel, and we're accepting that. And this is doing
Right.
just the
Well,
opposite.
they're
They're
actually,
taking-
they're taking gravel, yeah.
Right.
They're paving over the top of gravel.
Correct.
So,
Right.
like,
And
we-
And for
we're-
calculation for the stormwater, it's for the coefficient that they use for gravel is the same as,
For stormwater, it's
Yeah, for
almost the
stormwater,
same. Yeah,
it's about the
it's tight,
same,
but
yes.
what we've been calling in areas where I feel like we've given people credit for removing asphalt.
Correct.
yes, I agree.
Have we been mistaken this whole time in doing so?
No.
Well, I think that
Depends.
what's depending on what side of the fence you try to argue this from. A lot of people would say after a gravel driveway's been down for a long time, it doesn't really absorb much water. Once it's compacted and all that, so. It seems a little misleading when you say we're gonna take up gravel and go with asphalt and somehow
I don't think you can
not
count that
change
as
not change the ratio. So
I
I think,
believe,
and I also just maybe with Doug on here, I'll go back to Doug, but what I think some of the members don't have is the benefit of another plan. Because this, it's this plan that the members are seeing shows a gravel driveway. And actually the proposed one shows a much more detailed driveway with some stone edging
Oh, that's true.
and asphalt.
well, if I can speak to the way I read the Scituate bylaw, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it defines an impervious, includes gravel driveways as impervious surface. So for the calculation of impervious, I mean, I believe maybe Amy can speak to that, but I think the bylaw says a gravel driveway is impervious. And I know the proposed driveway is pretty much directly over the existing driveway, which is a lighter line on the outside. And that word gravel driveway, I see that's misleading, but that went with the existing conditions. That may be clearer on the actual plan. But the proposed driveway is, for the most part, smaller and within the existing driveway. But but based on the bylaws, I read it, a gravel driveway is considered impervious. So for the calculations, we consider the existing and proposed both impervious. That's correct.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it and let you know what my opinion is. Take another read of it. But I mean,
Sure.
as far as this site goes, I think we need to think about it in context of the project. I mean, so that the house was, and I want to be, correct this, because I think I misstated, it was a rebuild in 2014. So it was permitted as a raised rebuild at that point. And it's a little unclear to me whether the garage actually, the original garage stayed at that time, but when they rebuilt, they rebuilt in the same footprint, but for like 50 square feet. So I think that, and it was the same owner that's proposing this project too. So I do think that they are trying to make improvements on a very difficult site, I guess you could say. Because, I mean, it seems to me like really the whole site is basically impervious because there's just so much ledge.
Rock.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that would be good, Amy, if you could just clear that up, because I do feel like we've been and I know there are different, there's the stormwater, there's also in the, the resource area and the implications of that, but so seeing that driveway, I guess.
Well, and then there's
confused me. And
also, there's stormwater.
Yep.
Via DEP handbook, and our bylaw is slightly different than that. And people definitely, interpret it in many ways.
Yep. And then just my other question, because I'm looking at the old 2013 plan, where it says porch on this open deck and then porch on the, I guess, left-hand side of the building. If you're looking at this plan,
Mhm.
is that a covered screen porch now?
It's a covered open porch.
Covered open porch. All right, because it looked like it was approved in 2013 as an open deck. So there's just another sort of.
It's got a roof
change.
over it.
Yeah, got a roof over it now. So I don't know if that changes the calculation. I guess, yeah, I mean, I appreciate in 2013, it looks like the deck was even built to stay out of the 50, right? It's not a square deck. And now we're, a few years later pushing back out. So I think I share some of the concerns voiced earlier about pushing into the 50.
Okay. Brendan?
Yeah, so a lot of my concerns have already been voiced, I guess primarily, I'm again, not a fan like Jen of the asphalt. And I'm confused about the gravel asphalt, pervious, impervious. So would love some clarification. If we can get some on that. And then just lastly, that patio is, yeah, like pushing out into the 50. I'm not loving that. And I guess that's it for my comments right now.
Frank,
Thanks, Brendan.
Frank, can I add one comment?
Sure.
I'm sorry about that. But if I understand on that patio, which I raised, is an issue. It's already mostly rock and they're just capping what is already impervious. Am I understanding that correctly?
You want to answer that? Somebody want to
Caroline
answer?
or Amy?
Sure,
Caroline.
yes. The patio is proposed over visible ledge. That corner, 17 square feet, does abut over lawn, but right below, we're pretty confident that whole area is ledge, the way it slopes. So it's above the existing ledge.
That's a bit of a quandary. I'm still concerned about it, but it's already impervious. You can't ignore that. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Did anybody else want to jump back in on anything, or I got a few thoughts?
I have a thought about, Caroline, do you have access to the NOI or the approved plan from
Yes.
2013? Maybe you could
Oh,
send
I'm
that.
sorry, not from 2013.
You don't have the PDF or
I'm
digital
at
version?
home, I'd have it at work.
Oh, no,
but-
not right now. I'm just
Oh,
saying
yes, then
within your
yes,
files.
of course, yeah.
'Cause we just seem to have the paper version, but it would be handy to be able to distribute to the commission what was approved, because honestly, I think this gives you something to compare to, was what was there and what was approved and now what's being proposed.
Sure, sure.
Helpful, thank you.
And just to reiterate, the dwelling's not changing, the front entry's not changing, there's existing porch, open deck. It's really just those 2 second-story additions, not just. Removing and replacing the garage, the proposed patio, proposed spa, and the driveway and hardscape. So it's kind of stuff around a lot of what's there, but I can certainly do that. Provide another plan, so.
Okay, so,
Frank,
yeah,
Frank, you left out Penny.
no, I didn't.
No, I didn't have much to say. I was just concerned about the patio, but
Oh, that's a
it's a
first.
little ledge, so I'm not really. that-
Maybe that's why it seemed like I did. Richard.
I'm sorry, you're right. I apologize.
That's okay.
I think Amy's idea of looking at that NOI is a good one. My recollection is that there's a few sites on Wood Island that were originally developed by the people that built Indian Trail and whatnot, and they've developed some of these sites prior to a lot of the
Yeah, they did.
bylaws and things that we have now. I can think of another one that's out there that is in pretty close proximity because they were built when there was less regulation on all this. And so now the people that inhabit that area are dealing with that proximity. So I get that. But there's also the creep that keeps happening as you try to make the house expand it, that, you know, it's like, well, where else do I go? So we keep moving out here on this. And I'm just wondering if the mitigation that's offered is sufficient for what they're looking to do. And again, I'm not real, it's too bad that it's our doing. There's 2 plans to look at on this, and we can, if any of the members have access to that other plan, they can look at it. But it shows the proposed with the new driveway, and they're saying, you know, it is to Andy's point. There we go. Jen's got it up here now. So you're taking a gravel driveway and saying that that's impervious, and then you're going to switch the driveway to crushed stone and say, well, that's pervious, but really what's underneath the driveway is the same material. So
Oh, I'm not, we are not, we considered all of the proposed driveway impervious.
Okay.
And all of the existing, because I do believe the bylaw reads that way, but the wetlands bylaw for Scituate,
Right.
but we can verify that. So
Okay.
yes, both the crushed stone and asphalt portion are considered in the impervious area.
and is that,
It is narrower though. than
Yes,
the
that,
existing, so they're taking the reduction by square footage from making it a smaller or more
Yeah.
narrow driveway, I think.
exactly. It's narrower, and that area in the back in red is primarily where the new garage is going, so.
is the screen porch with the fireplace, is that existing?
No.
That's new?
Oh, the porch is there. The fireplace is not.
So
there's
there's
a
a new
porch.
fireplace being built at the end of that porch, and it looks like an outdoor kitchen on top of the deck. And then there's a whole patio that's being built on ledge below that. That's all between the 50 and the 100.
Correct. The
Right.
fireplace, yes, correct.
So I just want the members to understand what's being expanded here. So there's a fireplace, and then there's an outdoor kitchen that looks like it might be being built on top of the wood deck. And then there's a patio with a fire pit that looks like it's all brand new.
Mhm.
And then is that spar with the auto cover, is that brand new?
Yes, that is.
So
proposed.
that's all new. Then there's a 2-story addition that's sort of just highlighted in dotted lines with a few
Mhm.
pillars, but that addition's being projected out over the existing or an open area. And then they're removing a garage that's at an angle, but building a larger garage that's
Sure.
more symmetrical or perpendicular with the house. And then they're having an auto court that's asphalt instead of gravel. And I'm just wondering if we looked at the orders from 19, whether there's anything in those orders that's requiring gravel as opposed to asphalt. It's something we might want to take a look at, Amy.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at it, Frank, and I'll look again. And
Okay,
that's where I think we should really take a deeper look at what was approved. But I believe it was called out as gravel. And
Right.
then just, are there any attempts to address stormwater quality on this site, Caroline?
Yes, the existing garage is not equipped with flood vents, I believe, but the proposed is.
I guess when
grading-
she talks about stormwater,
Stormwater.
we're
not
talking about
flood.
runoff from this property. So another
Understood.
way to think
Gotcha.
about
Mhm.
mitigation for this would be, as you both have pointed out, that with a lot of this ledge, there's already very little opportunity for water to go anywhere. So all the more reason to be concerned if you continue to expand on that there's what happens with that water, it just runs off untreated.
Gotcha.
So I think that the hard look should be taken at
Mhm.
how that water is dealt with, the water off the asphalt driveway,
Mhm.
the roof runoff from not only the additions, but maybe the house, as a way, if you want to start to expand, like with that patio between the 50 and 100, and do this other work in a fairly sensitive area, I think it's going to take more than just some plantings
Mhm.
to make this an approvable.
Okay, we'll relook at that. We did decrease impervious and those plantings were laid out intentionally, one, because there's little ledge there, but behind the garage and the
Yep.
asphalt downslope. And we'll look at that as well as in front of we tried to kind of, I believe Sean did surround the proposed driveway with plantings.
I get it, and I understand,
Yeah.
like I said before, these sites are located in places that would have been much more difficult to develop today. And that's what the owner has, and they want to make it nicer. But by the same token, I think if that's going to happen, that we need to see some more mitigation and in ways that would be beneficial to that environment around the house.
Okay.
Penny?
Yeah, I'm starting, to think that maybe the patio should be a no-go off the back there.
Well,
I
I mean, I see that they're saying that
Right,
it's a hard surface that's already on top of a
I
ledge surface.
understand that, but they keep moving into the buffer. They have that other deck, the open deck with all that. I don't know. I think we have to look hard at the original orders on this.
I think looking at those and then so as we, we're giving some feedback to the applicants that they look at what other types of mitigation. I mean, if at the end of the day, they can come up with some things that will actually, that might not have been required back when the house was built or when we did that. So at the end of the day, we feel like we've gotten the impact on this property is less detrimental to that site. I wouldn't rule anything out, but I think that would be the goal.
Well, I guess my concern, Frank, is if the patio's on ledge, past the patio, that's probably all ledge too. Are we 5 years from now coming back with something else going out over more ledge? Just because there's ledge there doesn't mean you can keep going into the 50-foot buffer.
Okay.
You understand what I'm
I
coming
do.
from?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it isn't valid. I mean, the other thing that might be helpful, if people have the time, there is a lot going on there, and it may be worthwhile for at least some of the members to take a quick look, if we could set up something. I think that might be helpful. If anybody else feels that way, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
anybody want to add anything to this tonight?
Butters.
Oh, good idea. Anybody in the audience?
Saying none, Frank.
When do you want to continue it to?
8:22, or Caroline, do you think you need more time than that, or?
I'll have to talk with Sean. I know he had multiple meetings. He may not be on still, but I think we could do 8:22. I'm getting like, maybe we look at that patio. The asphalt area, will make sure I read the bylaw correctly on impervious area, and thinking just more stormwater mitigation. If that's correct.
And then there was also the revisions to the site plan for the flags, and having John
Correct.
look at that.
Correct.
So we wanted to make sure that the peer review was
Right.
signed off as well. So is that, so that really gives you 2 weeks from today to get everything in? Is that gonna be sufficient?
I'd like to think so.
Well, if it's
can I
not,
talk
you
to
can
the other team?
continue it
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Sure. I don't know where John Zimmer and Sean are at right now. I think I could do my part, but,
Okay. Well, let's continue it to then, and but if you could give us a heads up early on as we set up an agenda for the 22nd. If you're
certainly.
not going to be there, we'll just continue you again to the next meeting, but we want to have time to do that because we have a lot of things. So there was one other little piece that I noticed. There's an existing shed that's sort of way out past where the septic system.
Mhm.
So that's
Right.
another shed on the property. That's fairly close to the wetlands.
Oh, we were
Gee.
here.
Any idea what that's about?
It's
I
just an older shed. It doesn't look like they have any changes or plans for it at this time.
No, well, it's something else that they might consider, depending on what it's used for.
Mhm.
It's like within 10 feet of the wetlands.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, continue.
so a motion to continue this, Penny, or somebody?
I make a motion to continue 19 Wood Island Road to August 22nd.
Who was that?
Richard.
Richard, thank you. All in favor, Doug,
Yes.
Jen?
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan?
Yes.
It's easy for Jen to say.
You don't know. I mean,
I
I've
don't
been
know.
here on the
I don't-
22nd
I hope you are. Well,
by the skin of my
He might
teeth.
not hope that way.
It's week 39.
all right. So did we, I was joking instead of, did we vote that? I think so, yeah. Right? Today,
You did.
You went around. I don't remember if you
Okay.
voted, Frank. but-
I said yes too, thanks.
Okay. Good.
Good, all right.
Just a side note, Frank,
What's that, Penny?
that was that house, the Fullers owned that originally. And he was an airplane pilot. I went there for my Girl Scouts. She was my Girl Scout leader.
In 18 when?
Yes, in 18, that's right. Way back.
228 Central Ave. Do we have 228 Central Ave?
I think you have to read.
I was looking for
Oh,
somebody.
I gotta open this.
Oh,
On
yeah.
August 1st, 6 PM, the Town Hall Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Mass General Laws and section 30700 Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of Jessica Kenny for work related to septic repair, single-family dwelling at location at 228 Central Ave, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meetings available on the agenda posted on the town website.
Good evening. My name's Bob Rigo. I'm with Riverhawk Environmental.
Good evening.
I'm here to represent the project tonight. It's basically an existing dwelling located on the easterly side of Central Avenue in Humrock. It's currently the property has recently been purchased, and as part of the purchase, they inspected the septic system and it was failed. So we're here tonight to try to get the replacement septic approved. The subject property is located on a barrier beach coastal dune. It's in an area subject to coastal storm flowage. It's elevation 19. The ground surface at its highest point is at about elevation 13 underneath the house. There's an existing septic system and septic tank. That kind of the shaded gray area is a porch on the front portion of the house. And closest to Central Ave. Underneath that's an existing septic tank, and then under a paved asphalt paved driveway, there's an existing leaching portion to the septic system. So that's in the groundwater table, and we're proposing to replace that with a Presby environmental septic system arranged in field configuration, kind of in the underneath that existing paved driveway portion of the property. And because there's really no room for anything else, we're proposing to place a HDP or a plastic tank underneath the deck area, just for construction purposes and placement to get it underneath the deck. And then we'll pour a concrete ballast around it and backfill everything and basically return the site to its current condition. And it's also, just to note too, it's in the riverfront area of the South River. It's also has riverfront area across most of the site. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. I'd go to Richard again, just because it's in his neck of the woods.
Well, I mean, there is no other place to put it. I have two quick questions, and I'll let Doug or you or somebody who has engineering background question the system itself. It's under a paved driveway now.
Yep.
I'd love it if it didn't have to stay paved when it's done, because that, of course, affects the runoff. So that would be my first comment.
Sure.
Actually, my only one. I don't see any other location, Frank. I know the area well. Obviously, they can't go behind it. You're going to the beach. So that's really it. And the other thing I did note, though, is you've got to relocate the water line.
Right. It serves the property, the lateral connection to the water line. Yes. Yep.
Okay. And do you have to just dig a trench to do that?
Correct. Dig a trench. Yes.
Okay. That's
And they
that's all-
are, I believe the town of Scituate is proposing relocating. If you look, it's somewhat difficult to see, but the actual main runs on the property. It runs on the easterly side of Central Ave. So it
Right.
runs across people's property. And I do know that there's a project underway. I'm not sure when it will be implemented, but that Scituate is proposing to relocate that line more towards the center of Central Avenue.
I understand that, but you'll be done with your project long before that will be.
Yes, yeah, most likely.
Yep. Okay, that's it, Frank.
Thank you, Richard. Penny?
Why, my only question is, why is it a plastic tank?
It's just to physically, that tank is underneath an existing elevated deck. So they're able to basically hand carry that tank in and set it in the hole, as opposed to dropping it off the back of a heavy concrete tank off the back of a truck and trying to get it underneath the deck. They didn't believe there's enough height to get the tank underneath off the back of a concrete, precast concrete truck. So they'll put the plastic tank in, or the HDPE tank, and then pour a concrete ballast around it so it doesn't pop out of the ground.
Okay, I've just never heard of that before. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Jen?
I defer to Richard. So if
There we go.
Richard's good, I'm good.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I know,
Andy?
so much pressure.
Doug, please help.
We'll save him for the end.
Okay.
Andy?
Nothing to add for me.
Brendan? He's
I'm
chasing-
good.
he's Chasing
Thanks.
one of
Sorry
those
about
kids
that.
around.
Yeah, lots of them.
So I have just a comment.
How about Doug?
Oops.
As long as Richard's happy, I'm okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, my.
No, I think I
Wow.
don't have any questions. Yeah, there was a time when we were putting those plastic tanks in.
Really?
Yeah, they were elevated. They were,
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
Instead of a den, you had a septic tank.
Yeah.
yeah, and then when they did all the sewer line replacement up down around the lighthouse on Rebecca Road
Mm.
and Lighthouse Road, everything, those are plastic
Really?
manholes. Yeah,
Okay.
so they're all one piece, so there's no seams. So
So that's good. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so it should be just fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Amy, go ahead.
Oh, so I concur with what Mr. Rigo says as far as resource areas go. One thing is that there is no Board of Health approval at this point. It's going to a meeting in August. So if you close, it would be pending Board of Health comment, although DEP had no comments.
Okay.
And did issue a number.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
Does not look like it.
So Richard had made a comment, I think early on, about putting an asphalt driveway back on this. Would the owner consider anything different there?
I cannot say that for the owner. It is a new owner. They bought it with the asphalt driveway there. I'm unsure how they feel about taking it out, so I hesitate to say, yeah, well, great, we'll do that,
Could we ask?
We could ask. I'd like to close the hearing, though. I wouldn't prefer not to continue it, but
So when is the Board of Health's meeting?
On the 8th,
Okay,
Next week.
I'm just wondering if, what would be great is even if the owner wanted to have a full asphalt driveway, if they'd consider some plantings or reduction in the asphalt, or maybe a combination of pavers and asphalt or something, you understand what we're trying to do.
understand. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I can certainly ask them. It is one of the few paved driveways out there. It's a barrier beach, so stuff shifts around out there. I don't think any plantings would survive. It's very rocky, and it ends up, all the rocks end up in the road or out in the front of the house and then get pulled back. So I'm not quite sure about plantings as mitigation to the asphalt in this particular location. But I certainly can ask if they'd return it to, it's essentially just, rounded stones which come from the ocean and end up on that section of land. So
Well, they're not the easiest things to drive on, but if it was,
no,
if it was shells or some other material that,
yeah, shells wouldn't survive, I don't think, because, periods of time but like I said, I can definitely talk to the owner and see if she's willing to go without the asphalt paving, and then it would pretty much be just what the natural state's there now. It's a little bit unique about this house is it does have It's not fully up on stilts. It's the paved driveway to a doorway, which leads to habitable space in the dwelling.
Hmm.
So it's not
That's true.
quite like some of the other houses, which are just up on stilts and there's no habitable space down at that level.
Got
I
it.
would have suggested pervious pavers is the only thing that would survive,
Yeah,
other than the blacktop.
that's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And maybe, I can certainly ask that question, and it would be a good solution. I just am afraid to agree to that.
Sure. All right.
Honestly, you guys could condition no return of the asphalt.
But-
That's, I mean, just close it and we can condition that.
Well, I mean, we have allowed people doing septic systems to replace their driveway if they have an existing driveway.
Yeah,
I mean, that's sort of been our rule of thumb. If there was an existing driveway there and they're upgrading the system, that in itself is something that's really positive. And so we've, in the past, allowed people to put back asphalt when they had it before. We've always looked maybe for some additional mitigation to offset some of that.
Right, although, like, the state or people that, want to try to restore barrier beaches to the way they should function, would definitely be putting this house up on piles and no asphalt, so that the barrier beach could move, shift, and migrate. Or actually, it's the coastal dune is the form that we're talking about, but.
Right.
Hmm.
Well, I guess when the house gets renovated and goes, if they make those changes, they'll have to think about that. I'd be reluctant to say no asphalt, but
That's why I suggested we ask.
Yeah, we can ask, but it's kind of grandfathered in.
Well,
It is, you're right, Penny.
but we're looking to close this thing.
Yeah.
I'd close it pending Board of Health.
Mhm.
Okay, do you want to,
Yeah, I make a motion that we close 228 Central Ave pending approval by the Board of Health.
go second?
I'll second that.
So a second by Doug, all in favor. Richard, you made the motion, right? Or Penny?
Penny made it. I'll say
Okay.
yes.
Richard, yes. Jen?
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay. Okay, thank you. 15 Hummerock Beach. On August 1st, 2022, at 6 p.m. the Town Hall, Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws, and Section 30700 Town of Situate Code of Bylaws regarding the application of William and Sandra Denty for work related to a septic repair, a single-family dwelling location at 115 Hummerock Beach Road, Situate. Abutters and interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meetings available on the agenda posted on the website. And we have Morse Engineering. I hope.
Good evening, everyone. James Garfield here with Morse Engineering.
James,
Hey. Yeah, so to familiarize yourself with the plan, we've got, this is an existing single-family dwelling lot, approximately 11,250 square feet. It directly abuts Hummerock Beach to the north at the top of the page. And the site, subject resource area on this site is a FEMA flood zone, AE elevation 13. There's also a VE elevation, I believe it's at 16 there on this property. That does reside outside of our project area though. So this is a septic system repair job. The existing cesspool on site is in failure. And we're proposing a new gravity-fed septic system consisting of a septic tank into a crushed stone leaching field. Believe this is a great improvement on this site. It is a similar scenario to the project we just discussed on here. This is a Hummerock site where we're proposing to put the new septic system under a driveway that's currently paved. So I believe this discussion from the last item on the agenda will be pretty much the same amount of applicability on this project. So with that, I'll turn it to you for more questions and comments.
Okay. Amy?
Yeah, so on this one, I agree, this is, it's gonna be a good upgrade to have a working septic system, barrier beach, coastal dune, lane subject to coastal storm flowage. This one, though, does not have a DEP number, so I would say we are gonna need to continue this one. Without a DEP number, we can't really issue it, but otherwise, I don't really have any questions.
Okay. Let me go back to Richard.
I have no
'Cause he's-
questions on this one.
Okay. Doug?
No, it's a repair. Fine with it.
Penny?
Nope, all set.
Jen?
All good.
Andy?
I'm all set.
Brendan?
I'm all set.
Everybody in the audience for this?
Doesn't look like it, Frank.
Too bad.
So,
Number.
so the lack of having that number, are they just backed up and getting that, or what's?
I'm not sure what the holdup is, actually, Frank. We've had a couple that are tied up. Sometimes they're checked, sometimes they don't get the filing. Not sure. I think that they did look into it, so we're not sure, but
Yeah, they have confirmed they received the check at this point, so.
So do we continue this to the 22nd?
I
Yes,
would say that would be good. Yeah,
Okay, and there shouldn't be any issue. Maybe we could
move it right along on that night.
close an issue. Okay,
I'll make
All
a
right.
motion to continue 115 Hummerock Beach Road to August 22nd.
that's Penny, a second.
I'll second that.
Brendan, all in favor. Richard,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes,
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Frank, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
113 River Street. On August 1st to 6 p.m. the Town Hall, Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under chapter 131, section 4 of the Mass General Laws and section 30700 Town of Situate Code of Bylaws. The application of Kelly Ann Wilson for work related to septic repair at a single family dwelling location 113 River Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the virtual meetings available posted on the town website. Okay. And this is Ross Engineering?
Yes, it is. Although I don't see anybody from Ross on the line.
Didn't we have a trouble with that the last meeting?
you did. You did.
Is this the same one?
No, it's not actually. I think this is a different,
Is, is this a raise and rebuild?
No,
this one is actually is a raised rebuild, yeah,
Oh,
it is.
with piles. So why don't we just continue it to the next meeting? Or you can wait till we go through the next two, but I think the next two might also be continued as well. So we'll just have to see. Just because we haven't received any action on the next two either.
I'm looking at it. I'm just like, there's a proposed concrete slab under the building. Do we?
Well, I gotta open this, so.
You did, didn't you?
I did open
Yeah,
it,
you
thanks.
opened it.
Well, can we just fire off some questions, so at least.
Tiny little house.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Doug?
just, well, I was just looking at the, I'm trying to, River Street, where is this?
It's
I was
Humrock.
trying to-
It's Humrock.
It's
It's
a
the
Humrock
south side of
again, so-
Humrock and it's
Right on the South River, yep,
Yep, it's on the
Okay.
river side, not the ocean side.
yeah.
So that concrete slab was my question on whether or not we do that. I'm guessing that's to park on. Well, yeah, it says proposed concrete vehicle slab. So they're gonna raise it up and park in between the piles is my assumption here.
Yeah,
we-
that's probably not very favorable. For many
Um,
reasons.
Yeah, the building up on piles is fine. They're gonna repair the septic system, although I'm trying to find it on this plan here.
You and me both.
Yeah, I said there's a new deck. I don't see the proposed
Septic. Me neither.
system. Yeah, because it's right behind a velocity zone here.
I got Paul on the phone,
Okay,
but he's having trouble connecting. So I'm gonna jump off this for 1 second, talk to Jen.
I see where it says the existing cesspools on the plan that was existing, so I'm gonna assume they're getting rid of those. Is gonna put a new system on this. Maybe it's not shown on this plan. Is there another?
I don't get it at all. That's just me.
This is a fun game.
Wouldn't believe how many cesspools there are down here.
We got you.
Got me, okay.
All right, sorry about that. Don't
No,
stress.
that's all right, no.
You're showing up as admin as opposed to Paul Marabito. So
Hmm.
you got a new name.
Wow, you got a raise.
Good.
All right, Paul, sorry about that.
The applicant owns the existing dwelling at 113 River Street. This is a raise and rebuild. We have received approval from the zoning board to construct a proposed dwelling shown on the site plan. We've also submitted the septic system design plan to the Board of Health. I spoke to Drew last week and he told me that Joan reviewed it and she didn't have any comments for me. And they were all set with it. And they passed that on to Amy according to Drew. The proposal is to raise the existing dwelling and install the new dwelling on piles. The house will be located in zone AE elevation 14. The velocity zone elevation is 17. The top of the piles, they're wood driven piles. The top of the pile is proposed to be at elevation 17. The front of the property does have some asphalt in front of the existing house. The proposal calls for a reduction of approximately 400 square feet in the asphalt that's surrounding the existing home. There will be open decks to the two sides of the house. Underneath the house, we're proposing to have a concrete slab so they can park their vehicles under the house to try to keep them out of the salt air and the storms. And we show the limits of it. It goes in about 22 feet from the front line of the house. There's also a proposed septic system. I did include the septic system design plan. There are some existing cesspools there. They're still working, but we thought this was a good opportunity to replace it with a septic system that's up to current standards. So the leaching area in the tank will be underneath the house for both the active and the reserve area, as shown on the septic system design plan. There's no changes in the grades. The lot is relatively flat. The contour at the rear of the lot is elevation 10, and the grade out at the street is elevation 10 as well. So with that, I'll end and answer any questions the board members may have.
Paul, before we go to the members, so is there a separate plan for the septic?
Yes,
Okay, but we don't have that here.
You should have it. It was submitted with the application.
Okay,
Yeah, I have a septic, Frank.
okay. Maybe I just haven't pulled it up. Okay. Well, we're still going back to Richard since it's all,
This is a little house. It's on River Street. It's sort of the street in between both the river and the ocean. And so that's why the requirement to go up isn't quite as extreme. I'd love to see the septic plan, but I know I won't understand it as much as you or Doug would. But other than that, I really don't have any questions. It's a good move. It's a little tiny house. It's a good move.
okay. Jen,
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
Andy,
I'm okay.
Brendan,
Yeah, I guess I don't have any comments.
some little information here, but Penny,
Well, how far away from the river or the ocean is that proposed concrete slab? I'm not wild about that.
How far from, there's another house lot in front of us that would be up on the,
Ocean Drive.
let me just check something here.
Yeah. I mean, I see River Street is 40 feet wide.
There's several houses on the other side of the street.
Okay,
There's some side streets across from us,
yeah,
probably 6 or 7 houses from the river. Yeah, across the street is Home Street in Garfield. They have small single-family homes on them as well. And then on the directly behind us, there's a house at 47 Ocean Ave. And
yeah.
I believe there's houses on the other side of Ocean Ave as well. So we're probably 300 feet or more from either water body.
Okay. Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Doug,
My question was, or my only thought around the whole thing was the slab, and it's really in a desire to be consistent. So my question was, can we allow that? You know, we've had applicants for people to build patios and in flood zones, and we've not allowed that to happen. So I guess I'm looking for some input from that. I am measuring this on Google Earth. Paul's he's about right. I think the closest measurement point is about 280 feet.
Yeah.
To the beach. So
In all honesty, it's the widest point of the whole peninsula.
Oh, okay.
so it's not it's a question really for us, to be consistent. Can we allow a concrete slab out there?
okay.
So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Amy.
Yeah, have we gone
You
through
know,
all the members? I mean, do you want me to weigh in at this point, Frank?
Sure.
Okay. So the answer would be no. Like, you're not, so house goes up on piles. Oh, and my lights just shut off, but anyways, house goes up on piles, driven wooden piles. We're missing the structurals right now, but I think you can condition, I guess, for the structural plans. I also don't appear to have a full set of the hard copy of the NOI plan, just the septic plan for some reason. And then, I mean, it's good that they're elevating, but it is a new house. So in exchange, I mean, I think you want to get no solid surfaces because it's a coastal dune. So it's the resource area. And it's the storm damage prevention and flood control. So anything that's going to increase storm damage and flooding would
Yeah.
would be the slab or walls, solid surfaces. So
No slab.
Well, okay, thanks, Amy. So in addition to that, when I look at this plan, I'm looking at edge of pavement. And it looks like the house, the existing house has asphalt wrapped around like three sides of it.
mhm,
It's got asphalt right to the edge of the gutter line. And it goes, that asphalt goes up both sides of, all across the front of the house and up both sides of the house. Am I right about that, Paul?
Yeah, the asphalt on the sides are coming out to make room for the stairs. The the only pavement they would have left is what's in front of the house for the vehicles to park and then to drive underneath. The purpose of that slab is to have a stable base. I did check with Neil Duggan and Bob, and they said that's allowed in the AE zone. It has been installed on other homes in a similar location. So we're proposing that to have a stable base for the vehicles to park in there so they don't sink.
But Paul, what I'm not seeing is the removal of the asphalt. I'm seeing existing bituminous concrete or asphalt
Right.
showing up on both sides of the plan and the deck, and I don't see any notes to say remove that asphalt, so it's just in front of the house.
The only note we have, Frank, is in the notes in the plan, we show the amount of the existing asphalt, and then we show the proposed amount, and the reduction is approximately 400 square feet. There's also the size of the building is larger than what's there now, and that leads to an increase in the impervious area of approximately 15.5%, which is well below the threshold of 25% for stormwater improvements. But the plan does show the reduction in the asphalt. Again, it's approximately 400 square feet, and it's coming out on the right side and the left side of the house because they're going to have an open deck there. Both sides, as well as stairs coming down.
So when we condition this, we can put something in the orders that say that the asphalt driveway won't be any wider than the existing house.
Yes. The proposed house.
So
Maybe
you're
the
saying
proposed house, right?
the proposed house.
I
Do you
guess
see-
I'm just-
Am I reading that right? I mean, that's the way I see this, like asphalt is around three sides of this house going out to the edge of the road. Would you?
Yep.
Frank, if you look at the pictures, the left side of the house, the asphalt goes from the house that's on the site now all the way over to the house at 111 River Street on the abutting property. That whole open area is all paved.
So is that gonna be cut? So is that asphalt gonna be removed, Paul?
Yeah. you have to-
So your client's gonna cut that asphalt on the property line and remove that?
Yes.
Part of the conditions.
I guess I'm confused now about what if it about new concrete versus existing asphalt, because
Well,
I
so-
would prefer we had none, obviously.
Yeah,
Right.
So what, there's an existing house here, Jen, with a crawl
Yeah.
space in it and a basement and all that, and that house is smaller, as Richard pointed out. So what they have done in the past is they've essentially asphalted three sides of this house with an asphalt driveway. And then it's open, I guess it's grass or something in the back,
There's nothing back there.
or
There's no-
cobble or whatever, and it's looks like a shed or accessory dwelling.
Right.
In the back. So So there, if we condition this to remove the asphalt from the property line to the sides of the house on both the north and south sides, so that asphalt remains from the front of the house going out to the road. We don't have to. And then what they're asking for is a concrete pad,
Huge.
kind of still bigger than what was there with the existing house.
Yeah,
Am I right about that, Paul?
yes.
Yeah, the pad is going from the inside of the one pile to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the asphalt pad that they're asking for is actually bigger than the footprint of the existing house.
Yeah, I don't know why we would. I guess I totally missed this when we first were talking about it, but yeah, I don't I don't love any of that.
So, I mean, the reason that they want to park their cars under the house, which
Sure.
I don't blame them. But they'd have to come up with a material, either pavers or something.
Yeah.
what if they use pervious pavers? I mean, that slab is at ground level, which is about elevation 10.2, 10.3, where the
Mhm.
piles are 7 feet above it. You're on a buried beach, though, you know, the water can clearly go underneath the entire house and flow over the slab and back to
Right.
the South River. So, I mean, that concrete pad doesn't in any way stop the water from being able to flow from the ocean to the river. It's simply to have a solid surface to hold the weight of the vehicles without sinking into the sand, but Yeah.
Without having the architecturals, I'm assuming, are they gonna put skirting around this, Paul, as well to protect, you know?
Oh,
I believe that's the intent.
Yeah.
To hide the piles.
I think we would want to know that as part of the plans as well.
What difference would it make if there was screening of that?
Well, we just got into a situation at another place where they've kind of taken advantage of that.
there's no spacing.
So they closed it right up to make it more confined.
You know, there you go. I
Um,
mean, if they
So-
made that enclosure, their insurance premiums would go through the roof.
no, I know that. So I mean, I don't have a problem with them putting skirting around it, as long as maybe that's something we condition as well, that we have to start putting in the spacing or whatever on the skirting. Anybody else want to weigh in on the concrete pad?
Yeah, can I maybe just clarify this for me, Frank? So it sounds like right now we're talking about this from the flood zone, like the velocity and the AE, and this is not in the velocity zone. But if I'm hearing Amy right, there's also the issue of this being a coastal dune and a barrier beach and the need for sand to migrate freely. And so in that case, any concrete pad, pervious pavers, anything new would be detrimental to that concern. Is that
Correct.
correct summary?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so it's really not a flood issue. It's out of the velocity zone, but we really don't want to give them anything new on the ground that's going to unnaturally move the sand around.
And also the storms too. Yeah, so it's because it's the coastal dune is shifting and migrating, moves around.
Right. Anybody
So-
else? So I guess when I look at this, just as go both ways, they're proposing to remove asphalt. It's about an 8.5 foot wide strip by, I don't know how long, from the edge of the street on the north side and probably about the same on the south side. So they're removing the asphalt on both sides of that property, so that the only asphalt that they are asking to keep is between the front of the house and the edge of the road. And then they're looking for some sort of surface underneath the house. Now, I get it why people want to have a harder surface, but if they were willing to put like pervious pavement, a pervious pavers in those, how does that comply? Amy?
Well, the thing about the pervious pavers in this location is, in order to function, they need to be maintained, right? And so I think that that's a pretty tough call in this location. They look nice, but I just think in the end of the day, they're gonna get choked up and they're not gonna function, and it's just gonna be like a solid surface. But I
Well,
kind of
but-
feel like that in a lot of locations, but.
But
that's
but
the
in
tough
this,
for them.
yeah, in this case, they're already under the house, so they're really not functioning for drainage, right?
I
and they're
guess it
not-
depends on the details of how they're designed, you know what I mean? Like, if they were put in so that they're not solid, it doesn't form a solid surface, there's enough spacing.
Yeah.
Um,
And do
you
we
know.
want to allow that asphalt to remain in front of that house, or do you want to change to something else? Is something,
I liked how you were going on removing two sides and just allowing a driveway to stay.
okay,
But I also would say that at this point, we're missing enough information that you should continue this to the next meeting. To get a revised plan to make sure that these details are correct, because we're talking about a lot. I wrote down like 5 or 6 different conditions here, and it's just, the volume that we've got.
yeah,
especially-
no, I get it. What I want to do is cover everything that we think that, and what the commission members,
Yeah, so we can get an accurate plan. Yes, agreed.
and it's hard to see on some of these. I wish there was a better way to shade this or whatever, so that it's just like the last plan, unless you really start to bear down on it. Does anybody want to put in the Christmas list on this one?
I was gonna just as a suggestion, I mean, it's just a suggestion, because I'm not preparing the plan, but they could do a little demolition plan off to the side, picture. If that would help everyone to see what was gonna be removed. Is that
Yep.
kind of what you're talking about, Frank? So you can
Yeah,
see
I
clear.
think that would be one of the things that would be helpful for people to see how much is being removed. That certainly would be a good.
Or shaded in a color or something.
Yeah.
Like I think you could.
And then I think giving the engineer some direction on what the commission's gonna want to see. Is there something that could be done or added or changed to give the applicant something to park on, but that we felt that we could allow or condition?
Back in the driveway.
I think what, yeah, Penny's saying the driveway. I feel like if we're being consistent, the driveway is there in the front.
Mhm.
We've allowed things to stay, so keep that there, but don't add new concrete.
Okay,
So is that property line to property line, or is that a particular width, the width of the house? I mean, like, what are we talking?
well, I think Paul said that the asphalt driveway was gonna stay the width of the house going to the street, and that the asphalt either side of that was gonna be removed. So that's a pretty substantial area. I guess my point with allowing something underneath the house to park on is that you already have an existing home that they're pretty much proposing that area under the house is about the same footprint as the house that's going to be demolished.
I'm not.
Right.
Right?
So water can flow through where as
Where
it
it
is sitting
couldn't-
today, it cannot.
It cannot.
So it's an improvement
Yeah.
from that perspective. So. there's a-
Well, I mean, theoretically, depending upon the skirting.
Depending upon the size of the storm, you mean?
Well, like, yes, skirting does theoretically let water through, but it's not the same as it being open.
Right, right. I mean, I think unfortunately, Jen, I think we're just gonna have to be more specific about the skirting. I mean,
Oh, yeah. No,
You
I'm
know.
just
After that, yeah.
being difficult.
yeah, no, I get it. I just, if you look at this with the different shading, and if you take like the area that they propose to park on is not as deep as what the former house was, but it's wider. So just a real cursory look at this, it's about the same size. So, I mean, I would not be opposed to like pavers underneath that house if they needed something to park on as opposed to concrete. If there was a really bad storm, those pavers would come out of there as well, but
Yeah, I was thinking that, I mean, you know, we had a similar situation and they're looking. I'm not familiar enough with the construction of the pervious pavers, or pavers period. To depict or like, that we would require a certain style or, I'm not familiar enough with them to say like, well, yes, use this type of paver and we're okay. But I think there's room in there in my view too, that if it's not a solid surface, it seems like there ought to be something between that's acceptable for the applicant between sand that you sink in and a solid structure that we don't want.
I can get you a detail for pavers that would apply to this particular situation. And put that detail on the plan. And I'll check on the skirting as well. And then I'll show the limits of the existing pavement that's going to be removed so it's clear on the plan.
Oh, there you go.
okay.
Would you mind throwing the septic system on there?
Sure.
Or is that just make a mess of it? Is it too hard to read if you do that?
Well, we have it
Or
planned for the septic.
It will
Well,
make a start.
I can't find it.
It's
You're
another
special,
plan
Penny.
that we need.
there's a-
Yeah,
I got it right here.
There's a
Well,
separate
you're,
submitted.
I don't even have it.
Design.
Penny
But
must have
Penny-
taken, Penny took the only one.
Penny's
can bring
special.
it
She's the
back.
only one.
Penny Stroh
Okay.
got the other three copies.
And we
Yeah,
also need the structural plans, guys.
All right, so let's give,
Plans
let's, all right, so let's have a septic plan. Paul, you understand what we want to see on this plan for marking out the asphalt that's being removed and give us some sort of proposal for
Yeah.
some surface, right?
Yes.
And then we want structurals and we want to see the septic. Is that everything?
Yeah, you should have the structurals, Frank. There's 5 or 6 sheets to them. They were done by Rivermore.
I just don't see them in what was sent out.
yeah,
We
maybe
don't
we
have
just,
'em.
maybe we just don't have them because, and same with the septic. If he's already done them, he doesn't have to add it to this, but
Submitted that too.
we just need them.
Yeah, we'll just get them. All right.
Well,
Yeah.
either, I mean, we don't have them in my file, my hard copy or my electric file for whatever, the PDF version. For
All
the
right, so-
septic, no, for the NOI plan, but I do have the septic, I don't know, it's confusing. We
Well,
need to,
Jen's already holding her head. She's done with this. So
yeah, this
let's,
is. this is
Paul's got a
done.
list. We're gonna continue this to the next meeting. And there ought to be enough time to get all that information together. Right.
Okay. Yes.
I think so.
Okay, let's
Okay.
get a,
Thank you.
get a motion for continuance.
And the 22nd,
Yes, please.
I make a motion that we continue 34 Ocean Drive to August 22nd.
That was Penny.
No, you mean 113 River.
113.
I'm sorry.
No.
Yes, 113 River.
113 River was Morse Engineering.
So we're looking at
No,
113
you know
River right
what?
now.
That's a misprint, Frank. 113 is what I should have said.
Okay, so we're, okay,
We got 2 more to go.
all right, so let's, I gotta continue, so you continued it to the 22nd, that was Penny, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
That must have been Brendan,
Yes.
he's got that announcer's voice.
I
Richard,
will-
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Jen?
Yep.
Andy,
Yes.
Frank, yes, okay,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, we're just, don't leave us, Paul. 34 Ocean. So we
This-
continued this one. This is a Title
We
5.
did, and on this one, 34 Ocean, we had no engineer on the call last time. for this
Grady.
one.
Right,
It was Grady, and I don't see that same thing unless Paul Marabito's on to present on 34 Ocean. Let's unmute him. But
can
I
somebody
would-
unmute, can you unmute Paul?
He doesn't work for Grady, does he?
Wait a minute, Paul.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul, you're unmuted.
Are you on 34 Ocean, Paul? Because I
No,
was dealing with Dylan Grady on this one.
Was it
Dylan,
Dylan or Darren?
Dylan.
And we don't have them on tonight?
No, I was corresponding with Dylan on both 34 Ocean and 15 Revere, and that they had been continuing these because it was some kind of a technical thing with, again, the state number hasn't been able to be issued. It's like, I think it's even missing from the database. So,
Okay,
and if there's nobody on the call, I'm thinking that we continue these two.
You should probably continue it. Oh,
When do I continue them to, Amy?
Well, at this
Can we do-
point, I'm pretty reluctant to continue to the 22nd
Yeah, I hear you.
well,
because we
why?
have like 6 new NOIs that we need to open.
Half of them will get continued.
All
They're
right,
just, they're Title 5 repairs, I mean, they should. if
Okay,
they
so
got their-
continue them to 8/22 then.
okay. I make a motion, we continue 34 Ocean Drive to August 22nd
Second.
Do both of them.
and 15 Revere
Please.
Street, both to August 22nd.
That's
I'll
Penny,
second that.
second
Richard.
by Richard, all in favor, Doug,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
and Frank, yes.
I'm sorry, it's my voice.
I love it. All right, Paul, good to have you on the call. All right, do we have anything else?
Oh,
You
no.
know, if we have a few administrative items, there's a certificate of compliance, which is just one in a queue of many that are coming up.
Okay,
Two sets of minutes you could vote on.
Yeah,
And then enforcement, we're not gonna talk enforcement because we're still waiting for the Morse plan to come in. I've heard from attorneys on that and think that's what the holdup is getting a consistent plan from the engineer.
okay,
And then also motioning on 141 Driftway orders.
okay,
okay. I'll start off. I make a motion, we accept the minutes for 6/6 and 7/25 as written.
that's Penny, that second was Andy?
Yep.
All in favor, Richard,
Yep.
Doug,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay,
And the orders of condition, I make a motion, we accept those for 141 Driftway. It was an amendment to the original.
okay, as second on that,
Second, Andy.
and all in favor, Richard?
Yep.
Doug,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Brendan,
Yes.
thank you. All right, what else we got?
Nothing.
That was a lot.
The request for minor modifications, we have anything?
No, we don't. We do not. is
Okay,
on there as a placeholder, but we did not get any in, so thankfully.
sounds good.
Is there a bunch of documents need to be signed?
Yes, there are.
Right, I can come over tomorrow.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Did anybody get a thing for appointments?
I did.
Me too.
Andy and me, we're up.
Okay, are you
I
guys?
should be up too. Where am I supposed to get this?
I don't think you are, Brendan.
Oh, but
I-
you came on the same time. You did.
With Andy?
Yeah.
But Brendan, I think you were, actually came in the January after them. Like when you,
Ah.
Yeah,
so
you
you're
can't
next
get out
year.
of it. You can't get out of it this season. That's like a voice from Oz. With
Well-
Jen.
So although I guess interviewed the same day as Annie,
Oh,
was
that's
accepted at the next
weird.
year.
Oh.
You're not tenured yet.
Okay, all right.
We'll make sure that you're not off the hook, okay? But,
No, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything.
okay. All right. Anybody else?
I think we're good to
Um,
go. We might be able to make it home before it gets dark.
Okay,
Go home.
So
I'm
is this
waiting.
Jen's last meeting for a little bit?
We don't know.
No.
There's a very solid chance.
Are
Good
you
luck,
in labor, Jen?
What?
Are you in labor? I asked.
No, not right now.
Okay.
We'll,
You have a
we'll
very
just,
healthy glow though, Jen. You're
Is
looking
it-
great.
Oh,
is
you
there
look
any
great.
projects that would like Jen to sort of wrap up for us in the next couple of weeks before?
Or deliver the bad news on and then disappear.
There you go. All right, well. if,
No, I'll
Keep us
probably be back.
informed.
Yep.
Keep us
That's-
informed, Jennifer.
You'll
Please,
see me again end of October probably,
okay,
which is I think is like about 3 meetings.
sounds good. Well, let us, keep us posted, all right?
Yeah, yeah,
And if you need anything,
we're there.
Penny will be glad to help out.
Hey!
She can bring Jake and Gabby by.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Just
All right.
indeed. Eleanor would love to see them.
Oh yeah.
You can
Oh.
learn to chase coyotes from Jake.
Oh no, we don't do that here.
Oh, I didn't think I did it either.
All right, well, we're hoping for all the best.
Thank you.
Okay, who's gonna
I
make a motion?
to Adjourn.
That was Penny.
I'll second that.
I like that. All in favor, Richard,
Okay.
Doug,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
say again, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, Frank, yes. You guys have a nice evening.
You too.
ladies.
Thank you. Good night,
Yeah.
everyone.
Do, good